So there's a total solar eclipse coming up, April 8th. It's the last total solar eclipse that will be visible from the continental U.S. for, oh, in my lifetime and maybe in some of yours. So it would be a good one not to miss. I did see the 2017 total solar eclipse, and it's a great thing. You should really go and see it. But I can't go and see this one. I can't go away because the track, which I meant to put on here, the track goes basically from Mexico through Texas, across the continental U.S., Carbondale, Illinois, off into Maine and off into the Atlantic Ocean. The best viewing is in Texas because the weather's more likely to be better. I mean, everything's better in Texas, right? And but the weather forecast is considerably better because this is a rough time of year for weather. So my neighbor is going to see it though. So he's taking time off from work and he's got family out in right under the eclipse track. So I thought that I would come up with something to send with him that will be the next best thing to being there. So I'm going to make a box. I'm making a box. I'll show you a prototype that measures solar brightness. And yeah, no, it's not an image, but at least even if it's cloudy, there should be a diminution of brightness. You should be able to see a light curve. You know, astronomers look for these around stars for detecting planets and those kind of things. And every star, including the sun, makes a light curve. The one, obviously, for the sun is very pronounced because we're close by. So I made in order to see the thing in real time, I thought I would make it cellular connected. So I've got a particle boron. I don't know if you're familiar with particles products. They make a series of microprocessors that are either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or cellular or LoRa or some combination of those radio technologies compatible. And basically it's an ARM chip, a small ARM chip microcontroller with built-in radios. And so I thought if I could connect it to the cellular network, and it seems to work pretty well in cellular actually, then I could actually send minute-to-minute brightness signals from wherever my neighbor lays this thing down in Texas, hopefully not in the shade, hopefully not under a car, and back to my house, and I could sort of enjoy it in real time, as close as I'm going to get. So that's what I put together, and I can show you a little bit about that. I just whacked together kind of a prototype, so it needs a lot of work. If you're not familiar with what happens in an eclipse, that's a light curve. It's an actual light curve from 2017. The big dips you see here are our enemy, clouds. And it was looking very bad for a while, around 2 o'clock, but miraculously cleared up. And this is totality down here somewhere. And then, so it forms a sort of some kind of exponential function. With this being totality down at the bottom.
Isn't that a sine? Looks like a sine.
It may be. I'm not mathematically.
Well, I think it would be a sine if a circle is passing over a circle.
The circle passing over a circle. I'm sure those of you with a calculus background and geometry background can tell me exactly what the shape should be. But I'm just looking. I know a curve when I see it. So, it ain't linear. Okay, we know that. It's not good. It can't be linear. Nothing in nature is linear, by the way. So, as far as I can tell. So, in order to do that, I put together the light meter itself, which I can show you a picture of, which is a particle boron, particles chip I told you about. Particle has a facility on their website to put together a webhook. This is all configuration of code. So I go on their website, they catch these events that come from their push published from the boron, and I turn around and call a webhook, which means basically another URL, which is in this case SignalWire's SMS URL, just to show how that works. You can hear it now. And then that in turn goes out through the cellular network to my cell. It's also true that you can collect, I also will collect data here, not just into SMS, but into some kind of database. Because Particle doesn't store it, they just show you the events because they don't want to be in the data storage business. They catch them, but they're going to throw them away if you don't grab them. So this grabs them, but it's not necessarily the most practical way, but it does work. I wish I could show you a screenshot of this, but the particle rig is sitting out, it's running right now. It's in my car because you know it's raining out there. I was going to go out, the sun was going to be shining, the birds are going to be singing, I was going to get the bright sun, and it's gray and raining. So I put it in my car and collected the data from there. And I also collect, in addition to the brightness, I collect the latitude and longitude of the readings because I don't know exactly where my neighbors will be standing when the eclipse comes along. He says his sister lives like right under the track, so I don't know if it'll be in his sister's backyard or if he's going to go somewhere else that's a little more rural. But wherever this is, I'll know exactly where it is because I've got a GPS hooked up to it. So, you know, GPS makes everything better. So it's easy. And essentially, what I ended up with is I just take comma separated values and push them out in an SMS message via SignalWire's API, which I'm very grateful to SignalWire for helping me figure out how to do that because I'm an old C++ programmer and I'm lost in web APIs. So I got good help on that, and I got good ideas from some of you as far as nice extensions that would have been nice to do this that I didn't get to. So it would be nice to call it up and find out some information. You know, get a little AI spiel about don't look directly at the sun. I mean, I'm sure that could tell you when to take your eclipse glasses off, those kind of things. But I didn't get there because there are two kinds of projects. There are projects that get done, and there are all the other projects. So I opted for get something done that I can show you. So I think there's a picture. I keep my borrowed laptop here. I keep timing out. And here should be, this is me in 2017. This is, see how much younger I look? Here, this is there's a particle board on there. That's just a big USB battery, which should run for hours actually, because the draw is pretty small, 3200 milliamps. Yeah.
I wonder if you could, I mean, again, done is better than not, but to be able to take it and actually use SignalWire's SMS feature to be able to take photos, like if you did the box where you could do the shadow, and you could take the shadow of it and you could send it with timestamps.
I have thought long and hard about a camera, and I'm not currently planning it for two reasons. One of which is my neighbor is a camera freak, so he's going to get a million zillion pictures of the eclipse, whether I do anything or not. And because his wife says, oh my God, he's taking his cameras. And so the other thing is that I wanted something that someone who, is a competent individual, but who doesn't necessarily know beans about computers, could just turn on and record.
He doesn't need to point it, he doesn't
need to point it, and as soon as you need a camera, you need like a Raspberry Pi, for instance. And then you have issues with booting up, logging in, abruptly jerking the power and losing corrupting the SD card. I've had long experience with Pi cameras. Shaky. Plus and minuses. So this should be pretty much bulletproof. You should be able to pull the cord out right now, and since I pushed it to the cloud, whatever happens to the boron, if it decides to overwrite some firmware or something, which I don't think it would, but there's always a slight, power interruptions are just bad, then I still have the data collected. So anyway, that's my hack.
Excellent. Yeah. Are you running the GPS constantly?
Yeah.
What you said hours, have you extrapolated the battery life?
No, I haven't, but I've been running it since like 9 o'clock this morning, and I've still got battery still staying full charge. I know that's a crude method, but I need to measure the current.
It tells you something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
To measure the current.
That's
the GPS is probably much more of a hog. The boron takes very little power, but it peaks when it transmits, of course, because it's a cellular device. It goes up, but that's very brief.
And how often did you say it transmits?
Oh, to transmit the coordinates I have plus the readings under a second. So that
how often?
Excuse me?
How frequently?
Oh, I'm going to do it once a minute.
Awesome.
Only because I don't want to run up against rate limiting or exhaust my free tier quota. That's the other problem. With particle, they have a pretty good free tier, but you got to be careful, because the next tier up costs it a fortune.
That's neat.
So, they pick their tiers kind of wisely, I think. Okay, that's what I have. Yeah.
More question. What light sensor are you using with that? Because I also have one here too, so I was going to compare a little bit.
Oh, what am I using?
Yeah, for the light sensor. For your light sensor that you're using to like measure the like.
Oh, the light
velocity?
sensor, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
that's licensure, I'm thinking, oh my God,
light
what have I done? The,
Luminosity.
no, that's a very good question. Two things, there's lots of light sensors. You can actually use an LED, because the LEDs will generate current when light
So
falls
it's
on them, just like they'll emit light when current falls on them.
Yeah.
They tend, not absolutely, with a broad bandwidth, but they tend to absorb light in the same band they emit.
Okay.
So I have an infrared LED that should be mostly sensitive to infrared.
Yeah.
And then I have a CDS cell, cadmium sulfide cell. Those are the photo cells you see with a serpentine pattern in front,
Okay.
just in a voltage divider.
Okay.
And those have a very wide range and they're mostly sensitive to green. So since I've got 6 analog channels and I'm not pushing very much data, I thought I'd just string out different types of light sensors. I've used photo cells before,
Yeah.
solar cells before. Solar cells work well.
Yeah.
They work really well. Just got to make sure you put a limiting resistor in there because in full sun, they're a lot more than 3.3 volts. Because with a light load, going to high impedance analog digital input, they'll go, 10 volts. So I've got a little garden, solar cells that got out of garden lights. And the advantage of them is that I'm also trying to make this, look out the window, not rain-proof. Nothing's rain-proof, unless they rain tight. So that if worst comes to worst, it won't ruin my
Rain resistant.
rain
Exactly.
resistant.
That's it.
We live in
That was
Florida, nothing's rain-proof.
Thank you all.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jerry.